mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this at all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Checks big and I'm sure that hurts. But it's checkmate, we ain't selling short, no the work. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. Cause I be on the work.
Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? This is Dane from NYYU. We'd like to welcome you all to the Farm Report. Los, how you doing this morning, bud?
I'm good, Dane. How are you?
Good. So the first thing we wanted to get in and talk about was some bullpen options for the club going forward this year. We have some arms that are coming up through the system. We wanted to give some guys some love and show them who we think is going to be in the major leagues this year. So who was the first guy on your list?
Well, the first guy to me is probably going to be Clayton Peter, since he's already on the 40-man. It makes the most sense. I think that's probably going to be the first guy out of the box. Like I said, he's already on the 40-man. A lot of people projected him to be a bullpen arm anyways, and as of right now, there's really no room in the rotation. So I could see him being the first guy from the farm that gets a shot at the bullpen.
I like Beaters in that role. I've never been as big a fan as a starter because he lacks that true third pitch in his changeup. He's been working for 2 years to develop it, but that fastball slider mix is a really strong pitch package, especially in like maybe a multi-inning relief role.
Yeah.
You could even see him one day in the back of the pen. He has that kind of velocity and he has that kind of wipeout slider. Do you think that we could see him in a setup role eventually, or do you think he's more of a middle innings arm if he doesn't end up in the rotation?
Like you said, I think he definitely has the stuff to be a back end bullpen piece. His stuff will definitely play up. If he's a multi inning reliever, give you an inning, give you what 4 to 6 outs, anything like that.
Yeah.
It definitely makes him a lot stronger as a weapon out of the bullpen, as opposed to a starting pitcher, because he's still working to perfect his craft. I think he's working on he's still working on a changeup. I don't know if he has a fourth pitch yet.
I haven't heard of him working on one. I kind of heard he was toying with a cutter, but I don't know that as a fact.
Oh yeah, fastball, change, slider, curve.
Yeah. Curve?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that pitch a whole lot last year. Did you?
No, I didn't see it a lot. I think Baseball America graded him like a 30 on it. So it's a work in progress.
So it's a Rodon-like curveball.
Yeah. Show me pitch.
Show me pitch. Okay, so who was the next guy on the list that you have?
Yoendrys Gomez, similar. But I see him more like a Ramiro Mendoza kind of guy, right? Like a middle inning reliever, a guy who could give you a spot start here and there as well. Except for I don't know how many innings they'll deploy him this year, because for the past 2 seasons he's been on an innings cap.
How many innings did he get last year?
I don't know how far he got last year, but it was pretty much the same situation. I want to say around 60 innings, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what kind of popped in my head. So I was thinking he probably gets 100, 110 this year. Something like that. I don't know. That's enough for him to either start in AAA and get called up later in the year as either a starter or a reliever. He could do both. That he has a tremendous pitch package. We saw him strike out 12 guys in 4.5 innings last year, or 4 2/3 innings. He's got great stuff. And when you talk about him as a bullpen arm, that fastball will play up. We've seen it up to 98, 99. Obviously, that was in spring training before he got hurt last year, but we've still seen him that high. And he's got a phenomenal slider, good changeup, good curveball.
Yeah, I think his main issues has been his health. It's just, like I said, the past 2 seasons, he's missed a significant amount of time, which has affected his development, his ability to work on those other pitches. So, like I said, I definitely see some sort of cap on him. I don't know how many innings you're going to get out of him this year.
Yeah. After he came out for that, what was it, 1 2/3 innings last year, and just absolutely dominated.
Yeah,
I have thought about him in the bullpen, and I think he could be so good in that role that you mentioned, the Ramiro Mendoza role, where he gives you length or spot starts. I'm looking forward to seeing what Yoendrys can do this year.
Yeah, for him, my biggest thing is I just hope he can stay healthy because we have seen him. He can pitch. He's looked good when he's on the mound. It's just getting him out there every 5-6 days or just consistently.
Yeah, and when we talked to Grayson, they said that the reason that they were so slow with him last year is they were building up a routine to help him stay healthier.
Yes.
So hopefully that helps this year. Now, Luis Gil is another guy that's going to factor into the major league rotation bullpen in some way.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to seeing him. That live arm, we've seen that up to 101, 102. Just a wipeout slider. Again, he's someone that we don't know what the changeup's going to look like after changing the grip. We don't really know how the cutter looks after adding that. So, and he's returning from Tommy John, so he's probably going to be on an innings limit. Do you see him working mostly out of the bullpen this year?
Yeah, I think we've spoken about this before. He's another guy that I he's probably gonna have definitely gonna have an innings cap. I just don't know how many innings you're gonna look out of him or get out of him. My thinking is probably between 80 to 100, maybe
Yeah.
depending on how far the Yankees go. But he's definitely a guy that he pitched well when he was on the mound before his injury. He got called up. He had a phenomenal start to his career. He has really good stuff. He has a really live fastball, and if he's in the bullpen, stuff is going to play up. He's going to play up. So he's definitely going to be a guy that he could be in that seventh, eighth inning. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do as far as a setup role, but definitely a guy who could pitch towards the back end of that bullpen.
Yeah, and if for some reason they do not continue to keep him as a starter, I think he'll end up as a setup closer guy eventually. It might not be this year, might be a little bit down the road, but he certainly has the stuff to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a little too soon to abandon
Oh, absolutely.
him
It's
for the
just,
starting rotation. But yeah, that does make sense.
yeah. So who was the next guy you had on the list?
Um, I probably Will Warren for me.
Okay.
I think Will Warren is a guy who, we saw last year. He just dominated to close out the season. If he pitched pretty well in spring training last season.
He did.
I'm really, really excited to see what he does in spring training this year because I have a feeling that he's going to play a big role for the Yankees this year.
I don't know what his role is going to be out of spring, but I think everybody's sleeping on the kid. I think that his stuff improved so much at the end of last year when he pared down the pitch package a little bit. He even worked some as a long inning reliever in AAA. I think it was in his last 5 appearances, 2 of them were bullpen.
I think it was just one of them. I think in one of them he piggybacked. He piggybacked in one of them. But like I said, he was just tremendous those last 5 games, especially those last 2 months.
Yeah, I really don't care how they bring him up to the majors, if that's in a long relief role, if it's a spot starter role. The stuff is just so nasty that you want to get him up there as quickly as possible so it impacts the pitching staff.
I think he's probably one of those the reasons why the Yankees were aggressive in looking for another pitcher and keep telling people that they're still looking out there. I think that they want to see him in spring training, see what he can do, and maybe even give him an opportunity to show off. Like I said, if he makes a team out of spring training, or even if he goes back to AAA, like I said, I think he might play a big role for the Yankees this year.
And the one other thing we have to mention about him is he's gone over 120 innings 2 years in a row. So he's going to be capable of going 150, 160 innings if they need him to. So that's an important thing when you're trying to fill in innings that we lost last year. Warren can fill in a lot of those.
And speaking of Warren, or innings that were missed, from the Brito and Vasquez innings, I mean, those innings are probably going to be eaten up now by maybe Beater and Warren. So that's a role that they could, help the Yankees with.
I think any of those 4 could handle those roles and do pretty well in them.
Definitely agree.
Now, as far as a pure bullpen arm, you and I have talked about Jack Neely and Danny Watson. you favor Neely a little bit more. I favor Watson a little bit more. It's just different kinds of pitchers, but they're both extremely effective at what they do. Watson's a little bit sidearm, 4-pitch mix, and get both righties and lefties out. Neely's a more high velocity guy, well, mid 90s velocity guy.
He's a more traditional kind of a bullpen arm.
Yeah,
But of the bullpen guys, I definitely could see Danny Watson being the first guy to get that makes his debut.
yeah. I either whenever they come up, I think they're going to be immediately a big part of that bullpen. I think both guys are better. At least I have them both better, higher rated than Marinaccio was last year for me. So I think we're going to have a chance to see pretty good stuff from either of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see both of them, especially Watson. He was just killer in the last season. So I definitely want to see how that plays against major league hitters.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. And then the last guy I wanted to touch on, I know you and I have gone back and forth about Edgar, but I I've watched some more tape of him, and he's 92 to 93, 94 with a fastball as a reliever.
Is
Yeah.
really?
Yes, he is. I
Okay.
checked 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
But he's more of a command control and beats you with movement, beats you with
Yeah, that's
location.
his thing, you know, hiding the ball with arm angle and stuff, breaking stuff away. I mean, we know what it's coming from him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not gonna blow you away. He's not gonna blow it past you. I mean, he might be able to sneak a fastball here or there, but his stuff is mostly gonna be to get you to chase.
Right. And he's got one of the best changeups in the system now, if not the best changeup, probably. And you could see how that could work out. I don't think that he's a late inning lefty. I think he's more of your first lefty out of the pen kind of guy, if he can make it in the majors. But
Right.
I think he's another guy that can impact that bullpen later in the year.
Yeah, and one other guy that I did want to mention was Bailey Dees. He had a really good season. He's one of those guys. I would say he's a notch below like Jack Neely, but he's still a guy to definitely keep an eye out on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think he might be more of a factor in the second half. He still has some command things that he needed to sort out a little bit, get a little more experience, and he'll probably be ready in the second half. So our second topic that we wanted to jump into was Jared Serna. We had the opportunity to do an interview with Jared a couple weeks back, and the kid was just absolutely a phenomenal human being. And he's won the Mexican Winter League Rookie of the Year. He's just exploded this winter. What do you see as his future?
I mean, it's similar to what you've been saying. He's one of those, looks like one of those players that's in that Altuve mold, right?
Right.
Shorter guy who makes a lot of contact. He can run. He plays defense well. I mean, he's a guy that has impressed me since his days at the FCL, and he continues to do so day in and day out.
Now, I watched some of the Mexican Winter League highlights the last couple days, and he was playing a phenomenal second base. He played a really good shortstop, and he played an elite third base, and he played a really good left field too. Do you think that he's going to have a future as more of a utility guy, or do you see him settled down in one of those positions?
I like him better at second base. To me, he plays defense much better at second base. He has a very strong arm. I mean, if you want to get into the Baseball America thing right here real quick, we can.
Yeah.
They said something in his scouting report. They said something that I was like, They said that he had a below average arm, and
What?
I kind of laughed and I said, wait a minute, are we talking about the same Jared Serna? Because Jared Serna came up as a shortstop. I've seen him playing. He has a very strong arm, and especially from second base. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they saw or what happened. If there was some confusion, I don't know what happened there. But Jared Serna does not have a below average arm.
No, he certainly does not. That's shocking to me that they said that because I've watched him throw the ball from 4 different positions recently, and that ain't a below average arm.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what they were looking at that day.
Do you see him as a leadoff hitter when he comes up?
I mean, he can be a leadoff hitter. He's patient. He has good plate discipline. He takes the walk. He before his power developed, he was a guy who was almost 1 for 1 strikeouts to walk.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that. He steals a lot of bases as well. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see him as a leadoff hitter.
See, I don't think it matters where that kid's going to hit. He's going to impact the game no matter where he is. He's going to
Hmm.
put a charge in the ball. He's going to run like his hair's on fire, and he's just going to impact the game no matter where he is. I'm not so sure that he's going to be your all-star, perennial all-star type player, as I'm more solid on him being a consistent, everyday regular for a very long time.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not every player is going to be an all-star. Not every prospect has to be a perennial all-star as well. I mean, you look at some of these guys, and I could just tell you straight off the bat, I'm like, I don't know if this guy will be an all-star, but what I can tell you is that you could probably pencil him in for the next decade.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a Brett Gardner.
Yeah, that's exactly the mold that I see Serna in, is an infield version of Gardner, that he could be there for his whole career and be phenomenal, but kind of maybe get overlooked a little bit because of the size or something like that. I don't
Hmm.
know. I'm just really looking forward to seeing him. Do you think he'll start in high A, double A?
I started to think about that, well, first of all, he ended the season in high A, so I don't think he's going to go. Mm, I want to, you know what? I want to say double A only because of all the traffic that's behind him.
Yeah.
At Tampa, they're about to just get a huge influx of middle infielders. They still have Rock Riggio there. So my thinking is that in order to ease up some of that traffic, maybe Rock Riggio goes to Hudson and Serna goes to double A and Caleb Durbin goes off to Scranton. That is one way that I can see them alleviating all that traffic back there.
I do too. I think that's probably the plan that starts. He played so well in the Winter League. They say that's
Hmm.
very comparable to double A. We'll
Hmm.
see what happens, but I
I mean,
think he's
like
going
I
to
said,
be,
he hit 310. He had an on-base percentage of almost 500, 23 extra base hits. He had a really good season down there.
yeah, 11 doubles and it's like 7 home runs or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 home runs,
He,
30 RBIs, 13 stolen bases.
see, he just puts up numbers wherever he goes.
Hmm.
I cannot wait. And people are sleeping on that kid. I think he's going to be a long term part of this infield, whether it's at second base or third base. And it could be
Or
as soon
utility.
or utility as soon
Hmm.
as the 2025 season at some point. So, you have anything else on Jared you want to talk about?
No, but that's basically it. Like I said, I'm curious to see where they start him. I'm thinking, if you bump him up, it helps out, the traffic behind him, because there's going to be a lot of traffic at Tampa.
Yeah. So, for our next topic, Baseball America came out with their top 30 rankings for us this last week. And
Yes,
in
sir.
those top 30 grades or top 30 rankings, they had
Hmm.
some grades that were pretty outstanding. You want to tell us about some of those?
Right off the bat, Jason was number one. Hit tool at 50, power 60, run 60, field 50, arm 60. A small blurb on him was potential middle of the order all-star.
Well, we agree with that.
Yeah. Yes.
Now,
Except for I don't know middle of the order. I mean, I see him more as a leadoff hitter right now, especially with the guys that are on this team. Oh, but that could change.
yeah, but he's got huge power, so he could end up in the middle of the order.
Hmm.
I prefer him in that leadoff spot. I think he's going to be hell on wheels in that position, but he could very well end up in the middle of the order, solid bat that you want there.
Yep,
Now,
definitely.
some of the younger kids really had grades that kind of should shocked us. Roderick
Hmm.
Arias being one of them. What were his
Hmm.
tool grades like?
He had a hit tool of 55, power at 60, which is the same as Jason, run 55, field 60, arm 70.
Wow.
Some of his blurbs are eye-popping tools that could make him a fixture in the middle of the Yankees lineup for years. The potential to be at least an above average hitter, thanks to outstanding feel for the strike zone and unwillingness to chase. When Arias connects, he does damage. Exit velocity and barrel rates are better than average.
See, I'm so excited about that kid. I know that I've been going on and on about him, but he is just that arm that he's got. You don't see a whole lot of 70 grade arms from shortstops. You just really don't. And he's I the only thing that surprised me was the running grade went down a little bit. He had 70 speed last year, and now they're
Mhm.
saying 60. We knew he was going to slow down a little bit as he filled out, but I just didn't see that much difference in his running last year to deserve a whole knockdown
Uh,
on the grade.
and and I think he stole more bases last year. I think he stole
He did.
17 bases. I'm not sure why they dropped the grade. I can't even speak to that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm not sure why it went down.
Now, another guy that jumped out was Henry Lalane.
Mhm.
And he really had some special things said about him. His grades were unbelievable. You want to tell us about those real fast?
Fastball was a 60, slider 65, change was a 60, control was a 60. Blurb for him were clear-cut best pitching prospect in the FCL. He had a 3-to-4 strikeout to walk ratio. Continues to show the combination of stuff, athleticism, coordination. He could be the best left-hander New York has developed since Montgomery.
Wow. Do you agree with those assessments?
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Alani. I definitely can't wait to see the kid. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to him at Tampa. And yeah, I definitely am in agreement with everything they've said about him. I know Baseball America has been talking him up a lot for the last couple months, and I'm happy that he's getting that recognition.
Now, you don't really see a whole lot of guys with 360 grade pitches or 60 and above grade pitches and 60 grade command. That's what
As a teenager,
separates
especially.
him. Yeah, that's what separates him from everyone else. And then you factor in that he's 6'7", he's got the long levers, but he has consistable, repeatable mechanics. You just look at the future for this kid and go, wow.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to definitely await his arrival.
Yeah. And then another one that jumped out for me was our top signing this year in the international free agency class, Francisco Valario.
Hmm.
He had some really impressive grades that made you go, whoa.
Yeah. They gave him a 50 on the hit tool, 60 power, which is Jason Roderick territory,
Yeah.
60 run, 50 field, 70 arm. Explosive tools, mix of power and speed. Exciting, could get even better. Plus plus arm.
Now, I didn't expect those kind of grades from a guy that got less than $2 million.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, I looked at those grades and I said, shit, this guy could be in the SCL this year, depending
Yeah,
how fast he gets off.
he could. He really could be in the FCL this year. I mean, what's in his way, really, at the FCL?
I mean, it's one thing to do it in BP, to do it against kids that are maybe your age, but when you're taking the best of the best of the best, putting them in a pool, and now you're facing live pitching, things are a little bit different. So, definitely excited to see what it is that he does in DSL, and like I said, hopefully he gets off to a fast start.
Okay. Now, for our last topic of the day, we wanted to go over some of our breakout stars level by level. You want to start at AAA or you want to start down the bottom?
Um, I mean, we could start at the bottom.
Okay.
Um,
Do you want to start in the FCL?
in the FC, I mean, I think that's pretty much the easiest, right?
Yeah.
Lalane is definitely the guy that you expect to hit the next level. Larange, uh, Rodriguez, Kiner, Emmanuel Tejada. I mean, all these guys have made Baseball America's top 30, and we've been talking about this almost all season about how good that FCL team is,
Yeah.
and that pretty soon these guys would be top 30 prospects, and here we are.
Yep. Those are the same names. I would add John Cruz and
Yep.
Willie Montero to that list, outfielders, but that team is just so
Yes.
stacked. It's unreal. Now,
Yeah,
when you
even
get
Baseball
to
America consistently gave him props up about how good this team was. Like I said, it's going to be exciting to see if they all move up to Tampa
yeah,
and what they do there.
they called it the most talented team that the FCL has ever seen.
Yeah, I think they said that was the yeah the the I forgot what they said.
It was something like best or most
The
talented.
most talented collection of players, something like that on an FCL team,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
So when we get to Tampa, who did you think we're going to see break out there?
I liked Rock Riggio. I mean, like I said, I know I've said before the batting average probably not where you wanted it to be, but all the other numbers did look good, so I could see him definitely being a breakout candidate.
I think Rock's. I'm looking forward to seeing him play this year. The attitude he plays with, the just the passion he plays with, it's going to be fun to watch.
Hmm.
For a pitcher, he hasn't debuted yet, but I've heard tremendous things about Kyle Carr, our first pitcher that we picked last year.
Hmm.
He's a left-handed kid that throws in the mid upper 90s, and every time you hear about him, you hear about a super athlete, and that's one thing that we're looking for to break out is people that the Yankees can teach these skills to optimize what they're doing. I think he's going to be the big pitcher from this class.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to find more video on him. That's another thing is for a lot of these guys, you don't find a lot of video or it's older video, not really
Right.
that new. Hopefully, I'll be able to resolve some of those problems, but I haven't seen much of Carr. I'm definitely excited to see him. I know you've talked about him before, but I don't have
Yeah.
much on Carr.
Okay. Now jumping to
Well, and the
uh
last guy, don't forget Lombard. Lombard is a Tampa.
oh yeah.
Could be a guy from Tampa that could see having well, it'll be his first full season, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I'm expecting big things from him. Baseball America said some really nice things about him, that he was on the
Hmm.
verge of already being a top 100 prospect. I think we're
Yes.
going to see that turn out this year. Um, Hudson Valley.
I'm gonna go right off the bat with Brock Selvich. I think he's gonna do some. I think he's gonna have a very good season this year. Um, what he did last season between Tampa and Hudson Valley made me very optimistic.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Brock too. I mean, we have him 10th in our rankings. We've interviewed the kid. I just think he's going to take off this year and end up knocking on the door by 2025.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it's going to depend on this year. He should see his first challenge at Somerset, but yeah, I could definitely see him potentially doing that. Yeah.
Now, on the hitter side of the ball, there was two guys that really stood out to me: Christopher Familia
Hmm.
and J Rod, Jesus Rodriguez.
Right.
They both Familia is a little old for the level, but he showed
Mhm.
tremendous pop, tremendous bat to ball skills, hitting 310 with 22 home runs last year. But he's kind of got overlooked with all the other guys at that level. And
Well, he played with Spencer Jones too.
that's true. And then Rodriguez is a guy who played all over the place,
He did.
but there's a special skill set in that kid. I just don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yeah, that kid just hits no matter what it is. That
Yeah,
kid just hits day in and day out. He hits, he hits, he hits. This season, played first base, third base, catcher, left field. I saw him down in the Venezuelan Winter League. He's playing center field as well. Um, that kid, you don't know what glove he's going to bring to the ballpark every day,
he was
but
playing center field too.
yeah, he played center field. But one thing
Holy,
about that guy, he's definitely carrying his bat with him wherever he goes because he just hits.
he just hits. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing him next year. Do you have anybody else at Hudson Valley?
Another guy, Jared Wegner. He had a
Yep.
pretty good season. He skipped, I think, from FCO all the way to Hudson Valley. He's a little bit older for I think he's 24, I want to say, but he's definitely a guy that you could see breaking out. And the other two guys for me, well, Brendan Beck was supposed to be on this list, but we know how
Yeah.
that went. Unfortunate. Luis Vasquez is a guy that I'm very excited about. Very, very excited
Yeah.
about. Luis Vasquez is just a beast, man. Little guy, comes with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Um, and the other guy, Yorlin Calderon, who pitched really well between Tampa and Hudson Valley.
I'm excited to see both those arms. You know me, I'm a big Velasquez fan, but
Yeah.
I, I'm just excited about all the pitching in this system. It's going to be pretty special.
hmm
Double A.
I mean, at Double A has to be Chase Hampton. Just waiting on him to move on to the next level. Hopefully he gets off to a fast start. We see him at Scranton for a little bit, and before you know it, he could potentially be a second half option for the Yankees.
Yeah, that's what I see for him. He was my breakout guy as well. And I think that he can be up in the majors somewhere around the second half, possibly, and impact that team in some way, whether that's out of the bullpen in the year or in the rotation. The kid has elite stuff. And you know one thing about him, he's going out there to win every time he goes out.
Yep, he definitely got that bulldog. He's got that attitude that I love. And shows that emotion on the mound. Sky's the limit for him, and I'm very excited about him. I have been all year. I've been talking about him for a while now. Very, very excited for him, and hopefully, like I said, we see him in the second half if need be.
Yeah. See, now on the hitter side of the ball, Caleb Durbin is a guy that stood out to me. He was a guy who we weren't really sure what to make of last year. He was hurt, healthy, performed well when he was healthy. And then he went down to the Arizona Fall League and straight just killed it down there.
Yeah,
Um, he's not a big power guy. He's a contact speed guy, but he
he is
strikes
your
out.
he's your prototypical leadoff hitter.
He is.
And for me, he reminds me a lot of like a Chuck Knobloch.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
I don't
Did
know
you
how
have
much power. I don't know how much power he'll have, but he's definitely a guy that's going to get on base. A lot of bat to ball skills from him. He's going to impact the game that way.
Yeah. Do you have anybody else at that level you wanted to touch on?
Well, Spencer Jones would be the other guy.
Oh,
Your boy.
I
How'd
wasn't
you
quite
forget him?
thinking of him as a breakout, but yeah,
I mean,
Spencer Jones.
I only say that because we expected something from him. He didn't quite put up those numbers at Double A. He did finish the season well though.
Yeah, he did. We've heard about him working on his swing, leveling it out, working on being able to keep the bat in the zone longer.
hmm
I, I, I don't know what we're going to see from Spencer this year, but I think it's going to be big.
I mean, I hope so. I hope that what he worked on in the off season, we see it pretty early on, and hopefully we could see the player that we expected him to be all season long. Um, because who knows if he'll be called upon this year.
Yeah. And then AAA.
At AAA, I really don't have anything for AAA because almost everything that was there pretty much last season is gone, I would say. The only one that I can think of is Aaron Polensky.
You know, I want to see Vivas. I've
Mm,
heard a lot about him. You
hmm
know that he's Luis Arise like with his bat to ball skills, lack of a real position, and not a whole lot of speed, but the guy just hits. I'm just looking forward to seeing what he does this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy that I definitely am interested in seeing. I don't know much about him up until that trade. I don't think I had even heard his name.
I hadn't either. So, what do we have coming for the rest of the week, Los, from you?
We have a couple interviews lined up. Still have more videos to put out. Done with the IFAs. Have some off-season videos to look to post. Um, we have one of the draft pick kids, a pitcher from the last draft.
Yeah,
We have Eli Fishman coming on. And we're trying to talk to the Yankees' #1 scout in DR to see about
yeah,
him coming on as well. So that's probably what we have going on.
awesome. All right, bud. Let's get out of here for the day. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys.
Later.
It's heavy. Famous love. Yeah, I gotta keep it trendy on my soul. I'm the most selfish person that I know. Here we go, down the rabbit hole. Got a couple carrots around my neck. Self-respect, when you out of line, you put yourself in check. They don't hear me, they don't hear me though. Cycles going round and round and round like a merry-go. Stand for truth, or fall for any old scenario. That's why I keep my circle smaller than a Cheerio. Cause it's the company you keep. Stay woke, please don't get caught sleep. End up, sowing what you reap. Know your worth, and don't sell cheap. The ghost is inside of me.